then we knew we had to do something else. Things weren't going good.
And sure enough, we called Dr. Redden, told him the situation, and he said, bring him out immediately. And when he got in there, he did find out that during the initial surgery that probably all the debris, maybe, and it could just be a microscopic sliver, maybe the hole was not made big enough, so to speak, to get every bone fragment that had maybe, the nail had maybe chipped off. So they went in there and enlarged the hole and curated it down even more. So now it was almost like starting over, because now we got a bigger hole than we had initially. And now I'm starting to think, okay, 2 weeks has went by. There was about a 2-week cushion before I had to go to this big competition that we go to. Now I don't have that cushion anymore. Now it's kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking now it's down to the wire. If I'm going to be able to take him. And then the longer we sit and talk to Redden, the longer Redden's doctoring him, it's to the point that, well, let's not even worry about competition. Let's just worry about saving him. Because, he was saying usually, and Redden wanted to keep him at that point. He wasn't going to send him home to us. And usually, if they have to go back in there and do a third surgery, the outcome is not good. So this was his second surgery that he had done. And now it's to the point that, we just got to worry about saving his foot. If you don't save his foot, you're not saving his life. It was hard leaving him there, I remember, and driving home with the empty trailer. But we did it. And then when Redden thought that we could handle the medical aspect of repacking it again, going through that all again.
He felt like he was over the danger.
Yeah, he felt like he could send him home to us. But before he sent him home to us, he injected him with some stem cells, if you remember.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's neat. I never heard of anything like that before. And, I'm thinking the whole time this is going on, I'm thinking, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to take him to competition. And, I hated to go empty-handed, so to speak. But there was nothing else to do. I either go without a horse, but I really didn't want to do that because I'm so competitive.
No.
Yeah, and I think mentally it would have been hard on me to go there without him. So, it's just a lot. It was a lot going on for me, I think. During the last part of it, after the initial scare was over, I remember getting him out, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to take him from grassy spot to grassy spot and let him eat for his peace of mind. And then it progressed to, you know what, I just don't like standing around. Maybe I'll just sit on him. And progressing to where I would just have him in his halter and our Hackmore with reins, and I would just take him out to the park, and we would just walk from spot to spot, and we would just eat. So I felt like mentally I was trying to get him ready for the competition, because obviously part of the competition is not necessarily testing his physical strengths or limitations. It's an obstacle course to where it's more mentally challenging than it is physically challenging. So I thought, well, at least this way, as much time as I can just get him out, I don't want to say walk because it seems too much like work, but just move from spot to spot and let it be a natural process of grazing, but doing it with me to where we were still a partner, we were still a team. But I wanted to do, it was hard for me because I'm, I think, on the go type person. And it was hard to not just do stuff, go somewhere, and I really had to fight that. I think.
I remember too is we had a football game scheduled to work too coming up. I might have been the opening football game.
UK versus Louisville game.
Yeah, and it was getting down to where we were wondering if we could use him for that because he was progressing that well. And I remember, you talked to Travis about that, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was the first really good glimmer of hope when he said that.
Actually, he still had his surgical plate on.
Yeah.
And I worked the football game with the surgical plate on, and the football game was literally 2 days, I think, before we loaded the horses up to leave.
Yeah.
And I worked the football game.
And that was his first assignment.
That was his first police assignment. You don't know, you never want to go to a horse show and bring a horse that is lame or injured or not capable of performing. And me as a horseman, I wasn't about to take a horse that, had not been released medically. And I remember getting there and getting him off the truck and looking at him because he grew about 10 feet in a new environment, and walking him into a stall and thinking, oh, he's just not going to do as well as I really want. I can't blame him because he's, been on stall rest. Can't blame him. The thing I kept having to tell myself is that we're competing against 120 horses in this horse show. It's not some little small horse show that we're going to that he is having to compete against 120 other police horses from, like you said, departments that are really bigger departments, bigger mounted units than we are. And I remember walking away after the first day we did our equitation. And I was I think 7th or 8th horse from the end to go in, and we went in, and really I remember coming out of that arena after we had did our pattern, and I remember thinking, well, we did good. At the end of the day, when they have they call your number to the top 10 riders to come back, and they called my number. Of course, they called your number too. So now I know that, okay, I'm in the top 10 out of 120 plus horses. I'm thinking, I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, we did good. I'm in there.
Considering what he's been through.
Yeah, I'm in, yeah.
But I remember when they posted those numbers, how happy I was. Because not only were you there, and I was very happy that I was there, we had 2 other riders in there too. We had Heather Catt and Dan Edge both got it too. So out of 10 spots, there's Lexington with 4 spots right there. That was a sense of pride. No matter what happened, that was nice.
That was half of our unit actually. Yeah. We took 8 horses, and 4 of them made it to the top 10 out of 120 horses.
But then it got better for you.
Yeah, because then, they always start at the 10th place for police shows, and they start at number 10, and they announce the 10th place, and you walk out, so you all 10 horses are lined up in a line, and then the 10th place goes out, and they accept the ribbon and a handshake, and then they come back in the line, and then they start with the 9th horse.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when I got to 3, I think I saw you smiling a little bit.
I'm in the top 3, and then they get to 2, and it was between me and this other girl. And, I had actually saw this other girl ride, so I knew she had a good ride. And, then they get down to 2, and they call number 2, and it wasn't my number. And I was just like, wow, hang my head, excited and happy, I guess, because I knew then that, okay, I got first.
And
wow, we got first.
And that was a repeat, so 2 years in a row with different locations, different judges. I mean, it's really a lot to say. And with a horse that was close to death's door just not a few months earlier. I mean, it really is remarkable.